acceptable and known by the consumer or a patient. Okay, so that is there. So these are the things, export, you have to see it. You can't just send the goods without knowing all. Of course, there are certification also to be done from Chamber of Commerce, so Export Development Board and Sri Lanka, this one. Other country, different things are there. Then when you come to Sri Lanka also, that importer should get first approval to bring the goods into the Sri Lanka. Otherwise, someone is importing already. Okay, these are the basic thing. You should know is the basic thing. Of course, as a lecture, as a lesson, I am talking. So what need to be done before export starts? To successfully export, both exporting or counter trade or importing or whatever, companies need to focus on market research. What is the market? Okay, understanding the complexities and counter trade agreement. Okay, can we do like that now? A lot of companies did it during the COVID. They were selling tea and other related product. They will bring something else on in return that. Okay, right? So managing the associated risk, because then there won't be a much exchange risk. You don't need to buy a dollar, sell the dollar like that. Okay, so you are saying I am sending you $100. Can you give me item for $100? So you don't need to. You are going through the bank, but you don't transaction by giving money. Okay, so that is counter trade. This include identify suitable export market, assessing the viable, whether it's a viable. Okay, we did counter trade option, and establishing a robust legal and financial. You have to check it, because we discuss about pests, how the country political system, how is stable. Okay, now India people are saying that is very stable political, because they almost everyone knows what Narendra Modi is going to do, because this is the third time he is doing. So that the last 10 years they are observed. Now is the third term. I think second year, but I don't know. So they know for next 4 years nothing happened. Okay, there won't be much change in the legal system. Of course, he is improving further and further, and he is and he's talking about, I don't know about the reality because I don't know much, but he's saying he is dismantling a lot of 400 years law. They are bringing new laws, because that is their party's explanation is some laws are not purposely, but it was not removed. That create barrier to the investor. So it's not required, but not in place or not in use. But that laws are preventing foreigners coming into that one. So now they are removed and creating new laws of this one. Like Sri Lanka also now creating a lot of tax laws, right? Okay, so that is a different, and I don't have much chat with this one. So the tax law, same thing. And I suggest you all to read. Yesterday there was an article in a Daily FT about Sri Lankan environment. Of course, there are political, how this government is doing it, and how it would facilitate investment coming. So that it is more related to the lectures, the last week lecture. If you are really interested to know how to evaluate a country, someone is evaluating Sri Lankan environment. Good or bad, I don't know. But you will understand how do you evaluate or assess the environment of international business before entering the country. So he is talking about Sri Lankan advisor to the president. He is talking about Sri Lanka, how our focus is on than growth, sustainability, and all talking. So that sort of factors as a foreigner. Now when you read it, don't read as a Sri Lankan, or don't read as one of the party member, whatever it is. But read as an international business student looking for a country to enter. Then you know how to evaluate or assess a business environment of a country. So that's why I would chair it. But then it's not right for me to do that, because they are talking about one of the advisors talking about this one. There's someone is interviewing. Based on the interview, someone is now commenting. So that's a good document for you all to learn a practicality of assessing international business environment of a particular country. So this document is talking about business environment of Sri Lanka status now, why they are wanted, and we are more realistic and all other things, and we don't want to say so much of $1 million something. So that you can see. Then for instance, see, look at these people are trying to disclose lot of document, lot of information. So it would facilitate foreigners to make a decision. So when you as a foreigner, when you go to other country also, you have to look for that sort of information. So this particular article, this is one of the journalists, of course, he's talking about interview given by one of the president advisor. I don't want to name it, you all go back if you are interested, you can. And he's talking about what we have done it, why we are doing it, what are we going to do. So that information is more helpful to assess a country. So this particular journalist is writing about the current status of the Sri Lankan business environment, not about political, or a little bit political there. So you can learn about best assessment of a country and with a practical example of Sri Lanka. So I will suggest you to read it if you like it. It was on yesterday. Daily FT, no need to buy. Go to dailyft.lk and look for today columns. That yesterday page, this one. You can get it. Don't need to go for e-paper. No, go for Nobel website. Is there. So market research, well, is a competitive analysis, product adaptation, I said adaptation, market entry strategy, export strategy, legal and regulatory compliance, understand export procedures, secure necessary permit, I already told. The previous slide is very detailed. And financing. How do you finance? Okay, you are going to export. So what is the money circulation time or the lead time? Okay, you are receiving an order from abroad, you are sending a goods and you see the money. Okay, are you getting LC? How do you buy goods? Are we going for export financing? So I assume you all are learning accounting. So I'm talking only term, not in the slide. Okay. So are we going for export loan? Okay, there's a facility available in the Sri Lankan system. If you have an export financing facility, you can go up to 60 to 70% of the order value if the customer is reliable and good. So then you can go for a loan advancing. As and when you do, they advance. Okay, you want to buy a goods. Okay, you have a document. Then you go and say, I have an order for $1 million. Just example. Then they will give you $800,000, $60 to $700,000, $600 to $700,000 loan to buy, but not once. Okay, you have electricity to pay, you have salary to pay, you have material to import or material to buy, or whatever is local, electricity, all these things you can give a document. Then it cannot exceed 60%. Then the 40% they keep it. When the money comes, they recover 80%. The balance will come to you. Of course, you have to pay interest, so you have to do the costing type. You have to include all. That is one way of finance. So I can't go beyond. So this is more than enough. If anyone wanted, please ask. Otherwise, I'll go to next slide. Is it clear for you all? Financing and the payment?
Excuse me, sir.
Hello?
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, right. So what is export readiness? What is export readiness? And export readiness is one of that has capacity to resources, management to deliver marketable service. So I told, are we ready? Are we capable? That's simple. Of course, you have to read it for definition. I have already explained, but I am putting this slide. You know, there's no handout. So please read it for this one. For exam purpose, you need. So is that, are we capable? Export ready business, one of the one, capacity. That means now we are having 100%. So we are locally now using only 60%. So 40% capacity available. Then you can use this. I don't know. There's not much of depreciation involved, right? Not much of electricity involved, unless otherwise, of course, electricity might involve because it's a variable, right? So lot of fixed costs you are going to share with the more unit. So it's a benefit. Or you are already using your factories 100%, if you are going for that one, it's an additional investment. So you have to see that all. That is what the previous slide talking about investment. Okay. To determine if your business is ready to export internationally on export readiness assessment. So you have to do that. Okay. I have told already. Export readiness is an international business, encompasses several key market knowledge. Do you know who is your customer? What the product they want? That is suitability. Do we have a financial capacity and the structure and management commitment? So these are the things you have to see. That is called self-assessment. Okay, you are assessing yourself. Okay, do we have the product? Then we studied in the second lecture country differences or the international environment. So there you should know. Okay, we are selling Sri Lanka, and I told number of percent into Even though India, they went over a particular region that's called Kerala. It is almost like a Sri Lanka. You get banana leaf, banana. They eat almost like us. They eat puttu, they eat rice, all name it, except the language. They have a commonality of Sri Lanka. Okay. So if you are flying over that, you can see sometimes people feel whether we are on top of the Sri Lanka or whether so it's up, because you can see a lot of bananas when you are flying. Also, you can see that. Okay, people feel it that whether it's a Sri Lanka or this one, but when you see your route, you can see you are on top of the Kerala. It shows in your screen. Okay, so that's a commonality. So then you can see, okay, can so Damro did it that way, right? So now they have become a lifestyle product. Okay, now they can serve almost every customer. But with the early stage of entry, they are seen as a commonality. And they went it and they started a factory. They went and every other place. I think they are in Delhi, probably on Mumbai. And they went into China, Australia and Singapore as well. I don't know about others. Okay, so they are gone. That's why they have become now reasonably a huge company now. Okay, and they have a hotel, they have all these, now they are gone in there. So these factors determine the company ability to successfully sell its product. You can't just send it. You can't do sake of export. You have to do export. Who is the customer? Do we have a right product? Do we have a right price? Do we have a capacity? These are the questions you have to ask yourself as an exporter. And you have to see that my product is common. So the customer, culture, all these you have to see. Then do we have a printing rightly? So like I said, Maliban print, Arabic, we all see in local supermarket, this one, I think if I remember rightly, I can remember, there was Arabic printers. Because they made it common. Okay, when you go there also is a particular language there. So they can sell it Sri Lanka, they can sell it in Arabic, the more than 40 countries, South of the Middle East. So they are seen a commonality. I think that's why they always advertise, we are selling more than 40 countries. So exporting 40 countries, when they do advertisement for a job, they advertise that. Okay. We are an exporter of this one, beverages or confectionery or whatever they call, right? And they say, we are exporting to 40 countries. And if you are fit enough to do that, that is the introduction of the company. So that they say, we are an export company. Okay. So now you see, you should be talk about your readiness. What do you mean readiness mean? Are we capable? Do we have a goods? Do we have a material? Are we have a capacity? Like that, all you start questioning. If it is yes, then you are ready. Okay, that is export readiness. So there's a video about export readiness. Please read it there. Sorry, watch that.
The Export Readiness Assessment Tool by Export Planning provides an assessment of the company's readiness to start an internationalization process. The tool analyzes information about the company, resulting in brief evaluation about the possibility that the internationalization process might lead to an opportunity for growth and development. The information is acquired through a questionnaire, divided into 8 sections. Let's begin. For each section of the questionnaire, only the first question is mandatory. It is possible to fill in the questionnaire quickly by answering only every first question and already obtain an initial assessment. The more complete the questionnaire is, the more robust the final evaluation will be. The average time to complete the questionnaire is about 45 minutes. At the end of the questionnaire, you will get a synthetic evaluation and an evaluation by area. The synthetic evaluation consists of a pair of scores, X and Y, associated with the resources and competitiveness dimensions. The evaluation by area is presented using a radar graph, with a score associated with each of the 8 sections analyzed. Learn more, visit exportplanning.com.
Today's Matt's Minute is the concept of new product launch, and specifically what I like to
That
call
previous
the
one is the
product
export readiness at the macro level. Now we are talking about a product readiness. Okay. Please carefully listen carefully and watch properly. The earlier one is the macro level, export readiness. There are 8 steps. Okay. Now we are going to talk about product readiness. So I don't do all, but I have few because just to manage. Okay.
readiness assessment. I'm seeing too many organizations. They're well-meaning, they work incredibly hard at developing either a new version of an existing product or a new product, and it escapes as opposed to launches. So how do you prevent this from happening? You have an interlocked product readiness assessment, and it involves the following organizations: product marketing, product management, obviously, pricing, marketing, sales, customer support and success, and wrapped all the way around that is what I call the revenue desk. It's no longer a deal desk, it's a revenue desk. What does the revenue desk do? It ensures that as this product's getting launched and you're trying to get deals done, the revenue desk brings all the best practices together, ensures that it's being imparted, and you get deals in the door. So if you're in the midst of a product launch or you're getting ready, product readiness assessment, multifunction, and drive a revenue desk into your selling ecosystem. As always, I wish you good luck as you try and make your number.
So what is export readiness is? Product readiness, company readiness, and company overall readiness is export. So export readiness is the macro level. Okay. But then there are sub this one. Okay. So that's what we discussed the export readiness assessment is the process often involving questionnaire survey that help companies to evaluate preparedness to begin exporting products. So that is preparedness. So how do you prepare yourself? It examines the fact like a product suitability. Like I said, Australia had a peculiar standardization. So you can't just take the Sri Lanka, you are using electric item or appliance, you can't take it. So they want simply avoid that rather than saying what you call a barrier, they make it as a standard. Okay, you can't carry, you have to buy it there from the local. So just to make sure that there are regulation. Oh, you go with the one of the process. Even a product, you can't carry all the food product. Okay, so this is simply make sure they won't make a business and no imitated product. Okay, so that's a very, but Sri Lanka, no. Okay, so if someone create a brand here or someone bring a brand and create, somebody else will bring it. So that is the loop there in Sri Lanka. Okay, I don't know whether you are aware. Okay, so you are producing, sorry, you are bringing and doing a marketing and branding a product is coming from abroad. Once it's done, you do imitate product in Sri Lanka. Okay, so that is there. I have seen, and even when I was working for a few companies, I have faced at that one, right? So now you see, but it is a very important. So that's the reason Australia has that control. Okay, maybe other countries have, but I'm talking about Australia. Australia is very big. If it is 13M, they say 10M or 15M. So if it is 15M is other, they say something else. So you can't carry a product what you are having, or you can't carry from an international airport. You have seen some duty free shop, carry things there, right? So they wanted a systematic way of life plus business. So you can't just take it. So that the goods has to come to that particular country. It is prescribed by the law and order. So you can't carry your goods unless that goods producing country has to, you buy it. You can't buy something else in the airport and take it to this one. So there are regulations. So it examines the product suitability, financial resources, organization management commitment, knowledge of export procedure. These are the things important for export readiness. Okay. It identifies the importance like a SWOT and a company operation, finance, market understanding. Then you know the expectation, you know where are we now, then you identify the gap, and that would help you to fill the gap and improve your this one. Then you can start exporting. So hope you have to understand what you mean by readiness. This assessment help to determine the company is truly ready or not, right? Whether it has a necessary resource. So this is simple, this one. So you are ready to export. You can't just say, okay, so someone is exporting here. So it happened to the garment industry. If you take, say maybe before 2005, we had 890 factories, if I remember right, or 900 factories. Now probably 30 to 40 factories in Sri Lanka, garment factories. All are gone, maybe 50, right? We had 200 factory garment factories program, all gone. Because someone is doing, I'm also doing, because it was a quota system, all we did it. 2005, the quota system, and you had to do market, and you had to you had to face the buyer. The buyer come and tell what the consumer want, and if you can't satisfy, you will lose the order. If your cost is higher, and if the Bangladesh is less, so order went into Bangladesh. Earlier, before 2005, there was a system called quota system. Sri Lanka has been allocated 1 million pieces, just example, to Sri Lanka. So that particular buyer has to carry from Sri Lanka. So that was a system US and other countries had. But now, no, it's a open market. They give an order or they give a request and inquire, and if you can manage it, the cost, the quality, on-time delivery. These three things you deliver, they will give order. If not, they go to Bangladesh or China. Right? So that is one. So examine the factor that product capability, suitability, financial, all this. So I have talked about that. I have taken from the the book recommended international business book. So you can read it for further understanding. You can go back to this book and the particular page you can read it. Okay. So again, there's one more video on export readiness.
Export Readiness Assessment. Is your product ready for the global stage? We assess market demand and necessary adaptations, ensuring viability and saving you resources. Can you meet international demand? We identify bottlenecks and gaps, ensuring consistent quality and reliable fulfillment. Do you have the financial resilience for export? We analyze your financial health and identify funding strategies for managing risks. Is your team aligned for export success? We evaluate leadership commitment and identify skill gaps for long-term growth. Is your digital presence globally effective? We review your digital tools and platforms, creating a robust international footprint. Are you meeting international standards? We proactively assess your practices, preparing you for global supply chain inspection. Let's build together.
So this is a promotion video, but then you know what are the things is considered in their certificate. They are one of the certification company. They assess you and help you to develop or reduce the gap, expectation and where you are. So that's the one. So at least you know what are the things that are considered in export readiness procedure. So don't get confused. It's not an education video, but I took it from a promotional video given by a company which is doing consulting on how to make you export. In Sri Lanka, also a lot of companies are available there, and Chamber of Commerce and Export Development Board also help you all. They do seminars and all, so you can be part of that when you are entering into the international business arena. With another one.
What's the recipe for export success for Australian businesses? A key factor is whether the business was export ready before it began trading internationally. Export readiness is when a business has the capacity, resources, and management skills to launch a product or service in foreign markets and be competitive. Austrade provides a range of support services to help businesses become export ready. And our Go Global Toolkit is a great place to start. It's packed with tips, tools and information about exporting. Find it on the export.business.gov.au website. If you want to start exporting, you may be thinking about applying for an Export Market Development Grant, or EMDG. This program provides small and medium enterprises with grants for marketing and promotional activities that help create, expand or diversify foreign markets. To be considered eligible for a Tier 1 Ready-to-Export EMDG grant, you'll need to prove you're export ready. You can choose how you do this. You can either complete an export training course recognised by Austrade, find one that best suits your business from the list in the Go Global Toolkit, or you can do Austrade's free online export readiness test. There's a link to it in the Go Global Toolkit. This test guides you through the critical elements of export readiness, like selecting a market that suits your business, protecting your intellectual property, and creating an export plan. It takes about 30 minutes to do and gives you what you need to know to pass the test. Of course, you can do both our test and a recognised course, because everything you do to build your understanding, capacity and export readiness will improve your chances of success in the global market. Find out more online.
This is one of the promotion and the help done by Australian government. I think Sri Lankan Embassy has one of the division. I think they do help the local exporters, particularly micro level, and they do that one. So they have consultant work under them on a freelance basis. I know, I have seen. So that if I remember rightly, right? So there are places to get your update to your export readiness capacity, or that your export readiness status. Okay. So that's for the video, because I won't know you all practically. That's why theory also there, but these are the practical.
Export readiness.
What is the readiness assessment? Okay, now so it become an export ready. The product readiness. We talk about export readiness. Now we have to become a product readiness, company readiness. We talk about that product readiness. Sorry, I have repeated mistakenly. Okay. Why this? Okay, product readiness is a product is service ready to export. What international customer need, and so you should know that whether your product is saleable, it is compatible to the requirement. Like I said, Australia and other thing. Company is your company ready to export product. Do you have a top level commitment? So someone is a low level. So now just don't get me wrong. And if you are a senior executive, sorry, middle level manager, you can come and do. You can say do, but unless it has a commitment from management, you can't do export. So that's a company level. So top management should commit. Okay, we'll go ahead, because you need the approval, you need the resources. So middle level managers cannot do something because the new thing, the change. Okay, so that I by mistake I have repeated. I don't know why. I'll check it and remove it. So the same thing I have copied, but okay. The purpose, the readiness assessment, the purpose to assess whether are you export readiness. Okay. Process typically involves the structural evaluation, where are you, and all of the things using questionnaire, survey. You can, because there are like a checklist. Okay. Company operation. Okay. Product suitability. Market knowledge. So you should have market knowledge, and you should know what the customer wants, rather than sell what you have, but sell what the customer wants. So these are the things, like I have been telling, is a simple basic thing. Don't sell what you have, sell what the customer wants. So if you have that culture and the mindset in your organization, then there's no problem. So then you don't start exporting, right? Because everybody is exporting, I can't export. You have to export if your product is fitting to the requirements of the customer. Always go with the customer requirement. Unless you educate. If you see that iPhone, educate yourself. They are coming out with always the innovation. But of course, they do a predicting this is the customer wanted. Then they educate you. We have this, and no. But when you are a normal small company and you are going to export, unless your product is fitting with that one, then you can export. Like I showed you all the first day, how the housewife is having problem of sticking the salt. So Tata found as a business, and they branded first, saying that Iodex salt. Then they counted the sticking to that one. They came out with the crystal. So the business is always like that. But the customer problem, it become a benefit to the marketer. So that way you have to see if there's a need for such product. If how do we sell it? How do we market it? So you have to assess the product, because you can't go and say I have sold it in Sri Lanka, can sell it in other country. No, maybe, may not. But so you have to make an assessment of export readiness assessment, that product management assessment, all you have to do that. Okay. Video on operation. Then operational and production readiness also you have to check it. So there's a video on it because it's a technical one. I have taken.
Operational readiness is the term used to describe the activities that need to be successfully planned, resourced, and implemented in preparation for safely and successfully operating and maintaining an asset. The goal is to have a safe, smooth ramp up that creates the quickest return on investment. If you talk to someone who is part of a successful startup, they will proudly explain the planning and preparation that led to that outcome. The people, processes, and systems were ready when the assets were handed over to them. They were also well on their way to building their desired culture. The positive impacts of developing and implementing an effective operational readiness strategy will include: risks are managed, the startup is safe and all statutory requirements are met. Production rates are achieved as per the committed ramp-up curve. Unit costs are controlled as there are no expensive interventions required. Quality product is produced. A well-executed technical plan quickly reaches the required specification. The quantities delivered to customers are as committed. Doing what you said you were going to do keeps or enhances the business reputation with all stakeholders. The investors who funded the project are delighted with the return on their investment. Operational readiness planning should start at the early concept and pre-feasibility stages of a project, where the initial strategy, plan, and budget are determined. During the feasibility stage, the operations team would develop the detailed operational readiness plan. As the assets are being designed and constructed, the operations team will be executing the readiness activities in time for plant handover. They will also be establishing a culture aligned with their values. Every major project has performance commitments made as part of the business case. These include: it's going to be handed over to operations on this date. It's going to ramp up following a planned curve to achieve the nameplate or design rate. The goal is to follow the curve or even exceed it. A startup that doesn't go to plan falls below the planned curve. The gap between the planned ramp-up and the actual ramp-up represents the cumulative losses to the business. There may also be additional costs for any required interventions. If the operation is ready, they are less likely to fall short of the planned ramp-up curve and may actually exceed it. The gap between the planned ramp-up and the improved ramp-up curve represents additional value added to the business. Studies have shown that operational readiness has the potential to avoid the loss of up to 30% of the value that was expected during the commissioning and ramp-up stages, and 1 to 2% of the value across the asset's life. They add the detail to finalise the planning and budget. They then execute the act of the overall project budget. In a complex regulatory environment, this will take the readiness spend, skills, knowledge, and understanding approach to operational readiness. For identifying gaps, is one of the most rewarding memories. Will improve the chance plan. Will operational readiness. To learn more about how we can help make your startup a success, contact us and explore our website at enterpriseis.com.au.
So that is a very detailed one. So please watch that one second time. You will understand about the operational readiness. So now production readiness, because that there was a 6 no, I have with this one.
Welcome to Act Notes Tutorials. My name is Bert, and I am going to give you a quick tutorial on the Production Readiness Review, or what I call a PRR. What is a Production Readiness Review? A Production Readiness Review assesses a program to determine if the design is ready for production. It assesses if the prime contractor and major subcontractors have accomplished adequate production planning without incurring unacceptable risks that will breach thresholds of schedule, performance, and cost, or other established criteria. The Production Readiness Review is normally performed as a series of reviews toward the end of the engineering, manufacturing, and development phase in the defense acquisition process. The circle highlights where a PRR takes place in the process. The PRR should be conducted during system capability and manufacturing process demonstrations to identify and mitigate risks as the design progresses. What is the purpose of the production readiness review? The purpose of the PRR is to evaluate the full, production configured system to determine if it correctly and completely implements all system requirements. The review determines whether the traceability of the final system requirements to the final production system is maintained. A successful review is predicated on the determination that the system requirements are fully met in the final production configuration. It determines that production capability forms a satisfactory basis for proceeding into low-rate initial production and full-rate production. There are a number of interest areas that should be addressed during a PRR. The following areas should be reviewed: the manufacturing readiness process, quality management system, production planning, system requirements compliance, inventory management, and finally, supplier management. These areas form a good background to determine if a system is ready for production. A few of the key questions that need to be answered during a production readiness review are: has the system product baseline been established and has a good configuration? Have the risks been? Has the production capability formed into low-rate initial produced within the allocated production budget? Answering these questions a good understanding if a system can. Thank you for watching this tutorial on the production readiness review page.
So these two
Visiting
videos
Act
would have
Notes.
given you all, or would have given you all how to assess the operational readiness and production readiness. So you should know that it is export is not an easy task or target. Okay, so you have to do a lot of things to make it international manufacturing. So that is why it's a very not like normal import export just for doing, but exporting not an easy. So like I said, the garment manufacturer, there are a workplace requirement you have to satisfy. Say you should have a nurse, you should have a counselor, you should have relevant toilet, then you should have a safety box, right? That each employee should be given a box to have their things when they come, right? All these things have to be satisfied. They call, I can't remember, locker box. Okay, they call locker, right? So everything you have to have it. That's a workforce requirement. In addition to that, this is like operational, then production readiness. So you have to go through all these things before you start exporting. So operational assessment, we have done it now, discussed. So I'm not going to go further. Okay, you can read it. Okay, this is some sort of chart that is almost the same as that video we seen. Okay, product readiness, company readiness, and how is that what you do that all, right? Okay. So that I have given, so I don't read it again. I have explained. Slides are there, but you have to read it. Okay. So product service suitability, we discussed in the detail. Market viability, product customization, and compliance. Like I said, Australia and others where they are compliant, you have to meet. And product capacity, right? Product also should have a capacity also. They ask that, okay, now say, does the company have sufficient production capacity to handle the both domestic and export? So that is very important. Okay, because that you are already on a 100%, you can't export and you can't stop local customers. Like what I said, India does it when there is a lack of harvest or shortfall of harvest, they don't allow export. That's a difference, right? So that's how you have to see that whether do we have a capacity, do we have excess things. So okay, we are serving the local customers with the 60%. We are already okay. We have decided to go abroad to shoot that 40%. Or are we going for an extra factory, additional factory? So all these things you have to discuss. Product service suitability. Okay, and the risk. Okay, we are sure that we can put up a factory. The investment, how the sustainability of the order, will that the company will send. So like what MAS did it very carefully. They are very good and they are reasonably very good in production and marketing. So that stick to the knitting capacity strategy. You all know what is mean I'm talking. Stick to the knitting, the strategy policy. They are good in production than marketing maybe. So they sold it to Reliance and still continuing that product also as a manufacturer. What they have done it for Europe and US, the two other brands. Now they are doing by their own brands, sold it, but still they made India going to be the future of the business. So then they know Reliance won't go back to the production because they are familiar and they do it. Because you have to maintain a relationship in the future. That is a business relationship. So resources assessment, so that we discussed. So are we having the money? Are we having the HR? Do we have an external expert, technical expertise? Okay. Do we have a management committee so that middle level manager can come and give an idea and all these suggestions, but they can't implement. So unless otherwise you are committed, and when the meeting comes, who is the MD? They ask. The buyer doesn't want a commitment and the accountability. So you need this all, the resources assessment. So the market research and planning, so that we discuss it. So, but I have put a slide, you to read it because there is no handout. So you don't expect me to read the handout, the slide again. I'm not rushing. Please remember, I am not rushing. I have already discussed in detail, but it is only for reading purpose. Okay. Target market selection, you know how to do that one. Marketing and sales strategy. Okay. Competitive analysis, we discuss it. Risk assessment. Okay. You would have learned it accounting. Okay. If not, how to assess that, mitigate the risk. Okay. By addressing these areas, companies can identify potential weakness and develop a strategy to overcome them, increasing their chances of success in the global market. According to export planning, the export can go. Okay. You can have a planning. Okay. You can have export planning. But if you are not ready, different like a export readiness, product, then marketing, then you should go for capacity. All these are not there. You can't do operational readiness, production readiness. All these things you have to check it. So if that, yeah, then you can do a planning and go. But okay, we can do 100,000 pieces, 200,000, but then you can plan it. If you can't produce, what to do? If you don't have money, what to do? So these are the things you have to check it when you come to what you call export readiness of the company. So that I have summarized here. So there is no need to explain this all. Okay. So please remember that. Don't say I'm rushing, but I have put it for your exam purpose. Essential scalability, policies, resource availability. So I have explained, but now key aspect of market readiness. So that we discuss in detail with the reasonable videos, right? So now we'll talk about the organizational readiness. That we will discuss in detail. So business readiness is a strategic process that can organize, navigate, anticipate, respond to changing market. Do we have a changing habit? Can we manage? So like Nokia was doing it, but they lost the changing habit. They are good innovators, but they thought we are good and stick to the old technology. They lost it. So market condition changing. If you don't, you lose it. So they were not changing to the market requirement. Steve Jobs found this one and came out, so they lost the market. Of course, still as an innovation company, they lost the mobile market, but went into the communication industry. They are now doing huge and 3 billion profit or something. Okay, $3 billion pound sterling. Sorry, 3 billion euro dollar profit. So this is they are changing because it's a very innovative company, but they were listening or stick to the old technology. They lost it. Nokia. Okay. Now it's the technological and 5G, 6G innovative company. Process alignment. Okay. Change management I talk about. Leadership support. Does the leadership support? Culture. Do we have innovation culture? Okay. Are we weak or strong culture? Okay. This means that you have reached the final version of the product. Okay. So all these checking, then when you come to organizational readiness, if that okay, you can go for it. Okay. So this can be done by internally, or you can hire a consultant. That's why the one video talking about the promotional video. What do they do? How do they do? And how to make. So I did the discussion that particular. That is not an educational video. I took it, show you practically how you can get it done from an expert also. Of course, they certify and all, because you need a certification also to talk to your other part of the world customer. Okay. Any question, please? I'm talking continuously 2 hours and 15 minutes. Any question, please? Hello. Any question?
No, sir.
Hello.
No,
Are you
No,
on
sir.
online? Number of students are there, but no one talking. Hello. Okay, I will do my
No, sir.
part.
Okay, sir.
No, sir. All are here, sir.
No problem. We'll talk.
Okay, now you can go for it. There's the other one, it's called exit strategy. You should know that also. Because not only for exit strategy, it's very, very common. Okay, in case can be, if you take a mobile company, you can't close it quickly. Why? The investment is huge. What happened to Airtel? You can now you see that as an export or the service company come to Sri Lanka, but they couldn't do the way they wanted or the plan. Cannot exit us because the huge billion Sri Lankan rupees or billion, not million, billion rupees would have been invested in Sri Lanka as their tower and infrastructure. So they can't just exit. But they could exit. What did they do? They become partner of Dialog. So collaborating. Okay. So there's, I don't know about what the how to say. So that is become a partner, right? So they got a 10% shares in Dialog main company, become a subsidiary. So they got something better than nothing, right? So instead of losing all 100%, because they can't sell to anyone, because they were not, I don't say they were not doing well, but the way they wanted, they couldn't become a competitive company to any other one, because even though there are 50 plus million customers in India, but that is out of 1 billion. But Sri Lanka, we are only 22 million. Already, Dialog has taken 11 plus million connection. I'm not saying customers. So very difficult to get the 3 to 4 million customers immediately. So purpose of Airtel coming to Sri Lanka to learn the new technology, because it's easy to learn in Sri Lanka, small size. But if you want to do a new technology in India, the huge choice, 50 million plus customers. So testing is easy, difficult. But anyway, in India, each region is known as roaming, not like Sri Lanka. Okay, whether you are in Jaffna, whether you are in Goal, or whether you are in Kandy, we have one number. But in India, most of the places, it is called roaming. If you are in Kerala, one, if you are in Delhi, one, you should have 2, 3, what do you call it, SIM card to talk to them. So I have been there. I used to go our factories. So they have 2, 3 SIMs. When I asked for it, they said we talk as a because if you talk in India, if you are using in a particular region, it is local. If you are using the same SIM to that region, is a roaming. So then they get in others region SIM also. When they go there, they can talk. Okay, because sometimes people come from another region, maybe 60 kilometers from the border. People travel to factories. When I ask for it, they have 2, 3 SIMs. So this is it's a difference. So then, so that's the way that you have to manage. So key aspect of readiness means you should be in a position to exit also in case problem comes, right? So, but the Airtel did it very intelligently. Rather than losing, they did it. But in India, Ford Motor Corporation, being a huge American company, invested $2 billion in India, not a single dollar yet to take as a dividend. So that's a failure. Okay, they have been failing in UK. So they sold it to Tata, that Discovery and Range Rover or Land Rover. But Airtel, as an intelligent company, they are lucky enough, so they don't want to go for it. And now they are shareholder of Dialog. They are 10%. It's a huge amount, and they may have a director board. Director in the board. So they will have a return, no? And Dialog make a huge amount of profit. They get dividend, they send it. Okay. So this is the exit strategy. Example, I don't know what I have written, we'll see that. Okay. Exit readiness is the preparedness the company to achieve and position is sold or merge. Okay. I have explained. Same thing. I don't need to read it. So you have to go strategy planning, scalable and technology. So you can scale down or scale up. Okay. So now Airtel case, they can't scale up. So they went with they as a limitation. They thought the way they came, they couldn't go beyond some number of connection. So they went and joined with Dialog rather than losing something, and they got something. Okay, so that is. But in the case of Ford Motor Corporation in India, $2 billion they invested. Not a single dollar they took it back yet to US as a dividend. It's a failure. Okay, they were trying to join with Mahindra and Mahindra. It was not working. I don't know what happened now because I didn't follow it up. So it's being international business or export or your investment, not always success. That's very, very careful. Even Sri Lankan, one of the biscuit manufacturer went in India. I can't tell the name. They caught, burned the fingers and came back. So without knowing. Even a bank went into the India without knowing the Indian size, because the commercial bank did it rightly, because but other bank went into India, couldn't do it, and they came back. Okay, because they thought India big, but you are a tiny tot when you go to India. So you have to write so you select the location rightly. Okay, you when you go to the country like India, you have to be big enough, but no Sri Lankan bank can be size of Indian bank, right? So when you go India, you are a tiny dot. You can compete with your capital. They can cut you down your interest, and within a 6 months you have to come back, right? You can't compete with them. The size is so big. Okay, so that scalability, intellectual property protection, that is this one. So that how do you get that when you are exporting? You have this one. Like I told you, Glaxo, Reckitt & Colman, they went it. They took the brand and went. So they are given only a product to distributors, but if you go to the pharmacies, a lot of items are not available now, because maybe importing and selling not competitive enough with the competitors. So maybe that's the reason they would have exited, because even a Glaxo factory was having it. They are not producing. They were bringing in a tube, huge this one, and all the cream and other things also this one. Maybe even tablets, same thing, they are packing and selling. Okay, so not much of production here. So they thought it is not worth, and they are gone. Reckitt & Colman, maybe 10 years or 11 years back they went. So exit strategy, you should know that. Now I have explained very practically rather than theoretical. So theory is there in the my slide, but I gave an example to understand how Airtel did it nicely and without losing. But maybe Glaxo is a tiny dot. Indian investment, sorry, Sri Lankan investment compared with India or other country, very, very minor, very, very, this one not much crucial for them, not much crucial. So they have went out. Okay. So promises of exporting, increased revenue, promises of this one, and economic scale. So Sri Lanka will get the GDP core. Okay. For a company revenue, economies of scale. Economies of scale means, so you are producing 100,000 pieces at 60%. 60% 1,000 pieces at 60% efficiency. If you produce other 20,000, so you go to 80% in this one. So you are dividing the depreciation by 80,000 unit. So economies of scale, cost per unit of fixed cost will reduce. Okay, growth opportunity. So it's create opportunities. Diversification. So you are instead of in one country, you are diversifying. Your risk is reduced by spreading the risk. If anything goes to one country, you are going to other country. You take Dilmah, they are selling 100 countries. You can see yesterday they were updating that current directors and the children and the baby one, how they started by his father in Australia, and maybe number of years they are putting, and so such a way active they are doing it. Okay, so you can see that their website or social media. So that so their risk is so 100 countries. If one country goes, 99 countries are available to make a sales. Of course, it can affect all over throughout the world, but they are so active in 100 countries to do their business. So it's not easy, but they are doing it. Okay, India family, all members, plus a lot of staff are, the senior members are involved. Larger firm may be proactive, so like that, like I told you now, Dilmah. Small companies is a problem. The benefits from exporting can be great. The rest, the world such larger market than domestic market. So now if you can enter one market and show your success, you can use that as an edge to enter other market. So that way you will create a more and more market. So So sometimes your export market size is bigger than the domestic. In case of Kaylee's, so you take charcoal, right? They use it for in the surgery and pharmaceutical or medical this one. Okay, they are exporting from Sri Lanka and they are exporting from Thailand, right? They are, I don't know where are the other countries. So now their export is bigger than Sri Lankan. Sorry, Kaki is the local this one, right? So they are last week I have seen they are advertised the March sales has gone a half a trillion. I don't know whether you have seen that instead of saying 500 plus billion, they said it's in excess of half a trillion because 500 billion is half a trillion. So they are saying we have reached a half a trillion mark as a Sri Lankan company. So they are, if you take it, more percentage of the turnover coming from export business. So that's the one they are talking here. So I have given Kaylee's example. Kaylee's total turnover is more than 500 billion. That's why they said we have reached a trillion, not a dollar. Okay. Of course, they are now a $1 billion company. If you take converted in dollar, 340, say 340 billion. So, but they are doing above 500 billion. So, they are saying we have reached more than half a trillion. Okay. So that trillion company that is in rupee. Okay. So now we get the promises of exporting, how it happened. I have explained. MA is doing it, of course, huge. I can't give the numbers because they're private. But Kaylee's is, I am reading the paper and through the annual report, they are reached March 26 over 500 billion. That is half a trillion. So now you can see what is the advantage of export. There are pitfalls or disadvantage. High costs. Complex regulation. So you have to go with the, say, if you take now, I talk about Denmark, 100 countries. You have to do your cost, your production. Maybe you can, okay, there are, you would learn it in your something somewhere, FMS, flexible manufacturing system or something, they may be able to do with the production line, with the latest robotic and all other things, you can do it. Otherwise, it's costly. So complex regulation, because one country needs one language and other country needs language in the label. So it may be difficult unless you go with the technology. So that's why there is complex regulation. But that can be overcome if you have a robotic with the AI help. Then you can change, okay, country this one, change the label. So the system changes with the basic flexible manufacturing system like Toyota and other companies use the automakers production line because they have one line. They can use it for any cars. Even they will say they have a Rush, they have Toyota, different, all these, even SUV, they can use the one line for different type of product that's called flexible manufacturing system. So if you have that with the robotic plus AI, complex regulation can be sorted out. So that, but there's a pitfall. But so that require more investment. But small companies cannot do all. So that is why there is a pitfall also. Export, when you go for export, you are going and blocking into a very regulated system. So when you get stuck with that system, if you can't go beyond, you may be a loser. And it's expensive. Okay. So if they say next year we wanted ISO 40,000 or ISO that 2021, no 25, I don't know, the 25, come on, no? If I remember 2020, right? So you get it. And then they call different system, each region as a quality system, right? So you have to go. So it's ultimately maintaining that all expensive. But Sri Lanka may not be required. Or the domestic country may not be required. So regulations are costly. Intense competition. Okay, if you take, you are doing it whether you are a number one product, way better. But when you go abroad, you may have a problem. But you take in the case of Damro, Sri Lanka, they are done. So they have more branches than other competitive furniture companies in Sri Lanka. If you see it, and they are almost more than 50. But if you take another manufacturer, they may not have number of shops. Of course, they may have a competitor in the locally on that region, but they don't have a one what do you call it? National competitors are very less. So that way they are edge over others. Of course, you go to say particular area town, you may have a local small size person. So these what do you call Damro can manage and do a pricing. But when the abroad go to Kerala or India, you get a competition. So, but by doing over a period and do your readiness and all other things, you can improve and you can make it competitive. So, intense competition, that is the pitfall. If you just doing an export, you will be loser, or you may even wipe out of the market, and your entire cost. What happened to Ford Motor Company? Because they couldn't adapt it. Then their product adaptation was zero. They were just selling the American product. They told because India need a smaller vehicle, like not a huge vehicle. The roads are not always big. Of course, there are huge roads and highways are there, but sometimes some places your vehicle, their vehicle cannot be taken into that. So, but if you take Maruti or something, so they customize, right? So that they're not customize, they adapt the product to localized requirement. Financial risk, so you invested, like what I say, how Airtel, rather than losing 100%, they became a shareholder of Airtel, maybe a competitor, but it's a fixed risk unless you manage it properly. Political risk, okay, so that will come, okay. So I don't have exact reason, is different. Okay, now one risk is now you will be having a lot of factories. Some companies, Sri Lankan companies, has office in US, particularly even say I know a company, solid tire company. They bought a factory. They bought a service company or distribution company recently, maybe 3 years back. With this tax, they had a big problem, right? But now the tax has gone. It's a political risk. Donald Trump changed it, went into a huge trouble. Time and effort. So that's the problem. You have to make, say, if you sell it today, you may not get the money today. If you go for a letter of credit, okay, it take a 30 days credit and all other things. So if you are locally, you may be able to sell cash and collect it within a day. Okay. Compliant risk. So that compliant regulation and the risk is there. Okay. The second one is compliant regulation. If you don't follow the regulation, the risk is so huge. They call quality decline. Say you are a producer, producing garments. If you don't meet the quality expectation, the buyer will reduce from the payment. It called quality decline. Okay, whatever it, something. So this is a risk, compliant risk. If you fail to meet the compliant, you get a risk of losing your income. Supply chain management. Okay, that I know that locally is different from other things. So when you go for it, unfamiliarity with this intimation may apply all these things. So if you are not sure about this, all what I discussed is a huge pitfall or the disadvantage for an exporting company. Okay. So that I have, that you can read it. So these are the what I have been highlighted in black. So please read it. Remember, sometime it would be helpful for exam purpose. Might be, might not be, but I don't know. Okay. How to improve from export performance? So that is there. Okay. So what I have told now in other way, through market analysis, develop a strategy market entry plan, build a strong network, optimize logistic operation. So what was there, the pitfall, you have to be other way, you have to think about it. Okay. Continuous evaluation improvement. So so always you have to be evaluate and do a check and do an audit and get there. How to improve export performance is the details. I'm not going to explain, but you have to read it because I have already told, but I have put in points as there is no handout. So this all their service provider export strategy. Okay. Export import financing. So you can read it. Lack of trust and all will come because that's why you have to go for letter of credit. Okay. So export financing, there's a video. Quickly we'll see.
In a world where everything's connected, trade is global. Millions of products are moved across the world every day. But the financing of trade hasn't to be waiting 60 or even 90 days after you ship just to get paid. You could ask your importer to make an advance payment or for a letter of credit offering them. This is where DRIP comes in. We provide post-shipment financing. DRIP pays you a same-day advance on the value of your invoice at the time the bill of lading is issued. Unlike a bank, we don't require once approved, you business, whether you're in textiles, right down to Wells Fargo, first easiest way for post-shipment of global trade finance.
You can go through, like I said, when the customer send the order, you can use them Okay, ask them to send you a letter of credit and then use that letter of credit and the order as an advance finance you can do. And make sure that some people go on open term. Then if the customer doesn't pay you, you are 100% loss. So the bank doesn't look after you. But if you go through letter of credit, the bank will try to get from the corresponding bank because the letter of credit confirmed by corresponding bank in the other country, and that's a customer paying or not, the bank has to pay. Okay, so that's this one. So here the some distribution strategy of Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola is closer to you than clean water. In many parts of the world, it's in megacities, in remote villages, at airports, at roadside stalls. More than 1.9 billion servings every single day. But here's the real question. How does one company deliver a simple drink to almost every corner of the planet? Because Coca-Cola doesn't just sell beverages. It operates one of the most powerful and invisible supply chains ever built. At the center is the Coca-Cola Company, a brand present in more than 200 countries. What makes Coca-Cola unique is not just its brand, it's its system. A system designed to balance global consistency, local adaptability, extreme scale. At first glance, it looks simple. Make drinks, ship drinks, sell drinks. But that's not what actually happens. Coca-Cola does not manufacture most of its drinks. Instead, it sells concentrate. Here's how the system works. Coca-Cola produces the syrup concentrate. Then it partners with local bottlers across the world. These bottlers add water, bottle the product, handle distribution, manage local logistics. This model changes everything. Instead of one global supply chain, Coca-Cola operates hundreds of localized supply chains. Scale without localization doesn't work. Coca-Cola adapts to local realities. Different pack sizes, different price points, different distribution methods. In developed markets, large retail chains dominate. In emerging markets, small neighborhood shops drive sales. So Coca-Cola builds hyper-local distribution networks. Because availability is everything. If the product isn't within arm's reach, the sale is lost. Anyone can make a drink. Very few can distribute it like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's strength lies in route-to-market precision, last-mile reach. Retail penetration products are pushed into restaurants, vending machines, supermarkets, street vendors. The goal is simple: be everywhere before the competitor. Coca-Cola's product is simple. That's intentional. A standardized product enables mass production, consistent quality, scalable logistics. But the real genius? They standardize the core and localize everything else. Packaging, pricing, distribution. This balance unlocks global dominance. Coca-Cola doesn't just compete on taste, it competes on availability. The company that wins is not the one with the best product. It's the one that shows up first and shows up everywhere. That is Coca-Cola's advantage. A supply chain so deeply embedded, it becomes invisible. Coca-Cola didn't just build a beverage brand, it built a global distribution machine. In the end, the most powerful supply chains aren't the ones you notice. They're the ones you take for granted. Subscribe to learn more about such supply chain legends.
So now we have seen how do you do business in worldwide and standardize the standardize the core and then localize little bit. Okay, so that's why Coca-Cola does it. Of course, they are still called theoretically standardized company, but they little bit now do. But still they say standardize the core. Okay. So this is how export shipment goes. Like up the graph. If you are not familiar, otherwise no need. French importer, then export ship good. How you do it? Okay. Paying that document wise there, and this is the use of third-party bank. So if you are a family already not, otherwise please hope you would have already read my PowerPoint. So then it's not be new. Otherwise, if you are reading it now only, so it's a surprise. So anyway, go back and read my PowerPoint. Then you will understand how the documentation process flow going. Okay. So letter of credit, draft. So I don't need to explain. If you are a student, you would have learned it practically. So I'm not going to explain what is letter of credit, what is draft, what is bill of lading. I don't. Okay. So this is the complete flow of import-export documentation from 1 to 13. I think if I remember rightly, yes. So you can see what's happened on second, the sequence of documentation and the flow. So if you read carefully this one, you will understand how export process done, how the money come to the buyer, seller. Okay, this is the graph, and that I have put all 14 document this one. There are 14 actions. So please read it. There's nothing to explain. So export assistant, import bank and all. So that I don't need it, but I have just given. So it's a very practical one. There's no need to explain. Counter trade we discuss. I don't need to go and discuss that anyway. That for you to understand, examples are there. Okay, how General Electric, how Philip Morris does it. Okay, you can use that. So counter trade is there. Types of counter trade we discussed in the video, but here in a slide I have put in detail. Okay, advantage and disadvantage there. So there is nothing to explain. So that because you are not supposed to get you are giving a tea and getting oil, so you may lose negotiation because you are in a despite need of a oil, so there is no negotiation might go. Okay, might not happen. Okay, so global production. So okay, we discuss about international trade, that is import, export, and counter trade. Please ask any question if you have. But don't say that I am first, but I have. Okay, any question, please? Hello. Any questions? Any question? As no question, then I'll go back to my slide. So we are going to now discuss about that functions, import, export, counter trades. Okay, so that now we are going to discuss much, and I'll be dealing with the rest of the balance next week. Production and supply chain. Okay, supply chain is a one subject. Okay, so can't do it even 3 hours. I'm just talking about, but you just study. Do you all have a subject called supply chain and operation management? Do you have a subject called operation management and supply chain?
No, sir.
Hello?
No, sir.
So, I don't need to teach you all. Okay, I can rush it. So I can remember, yes, you all had a subject. Okay. So global production refers to company strategy located in different stages. So that I have already explained. I have a detailed slide earlier. Global economy must decide where to locate the production. That is important. Okay. What long-term strategy? Whether to own a foreign production or that one. Now see, Unilever, they are producing, right? So somebody is giving to produce it outsiders. Okay, so that's a way. How to manage globally dispersed supply chain management. So supply chain management, how to manage. These are the things in the manufacturing or production. This one you have to decide whether to manage global logistics or outsource. If you take a company called a garment company, garment brand called the name is they're not coming it, and they have given a company located in Asia to do all their sourcing, and they decide they'll come and say we need 1 million pieces of baby wear, right? And they decide where to buy. Now the company doesn't involve. Okay. So that is the way to manage, whether you can outsource. So there are that things also happen.
Hey everyone! Today I'm breaking down what it really takes to build a successful
the video will give you more details of product.
Global supply chain, step by step. In today's world, businesses aren't just local anymore. They're operating across continents, moving products, services, information around the globe. But what does it actually mean to have a global supply chain? Let's start with the basics. A global supply chain is a network that connects suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, retailers, all working together to get products from raw materials to your doorstep, no matter where you live. Unlike a domestic supply chain, this network crosses borders, deals with different regulations, and manages some pretty complex logistics. So what are the key parts? First, you've got suppliers, providing raw materials components, often from totally different countries. Next up are manufacturers, who turn those materials into finished goods. Then, logistics and transportation step in, shipping air freight trucking across borders. Warehousing distribution makes sure products are stored and delivered efficiently. And finally, retailers' e-commerce platforms bring those products to customers worldwide. Now, how do you actually build a global supply chain that works? Here's my step-by-step breakdown. Step 1. Strategic planning. Analyze market demand, production costs, what your suppliers can actually deliver. Allocate resources wisely and minimize risks. Step 2. Selecting reliable suppliers. Choose suppliers who are trustworthy, financially stable, follow ethical practices. Look for compliance with international standards. It'll save you headaches later. Step 3. Optimizing logistics. Pick shipping methods that balance cost, speed, reliability. Always keep customs regulations, delivery times in mind. Step 4. Implementing technology. Use supply chain management software, ERP systems, real-time tracking tools. These make your supply chain more visible, coordinated, responsive, so you can make smart decisions fast. Step 5. Risk management. Global supply chains face risks like political instability, natural disasters, currency swings. Diversify your suppliers and have backup plans ready. Step 6. Sustainability and ethics. Reduce your carbon footprint. Ensure fair labor source responsibly. It's good for business and the planet. Of course, there are challenges. Different countries have their own rules and tariffs. Communication barriers can slow things down. Economic ups and downs impact costs. Building a global supply chain, it's about creating a smart, resilient network. So, if you want your business to thrive in the global market, anywhere in the world, thanks for watching and subscribe for more business insights.
Production and supply chain requirement. Okay. So anyway, you all said you all have a subject, no need to teach much. Anyway, it's the international supply chain management, TTP different than the domestic. Okay, why is important? Cost efficiency, specialization, market access, and economic development. That is very, very important. So what is the reason? Okay, so exam purpose might be helpful. There would be a one question, direct answer, 5 marks or 3 marks for each direct questions. Okay, so I don't know whether you have 20 or 30 marks so based on that. Okay, so this is the one I took it and I shared with you an article. Hope you all read it. If not, please go back and read that article. So future will require the current production system and supply chain demand localization, not globalization, demand rethinking. Okay, so that is there. So please read it and understand because there are writers. So that's the purpose of this slide. I don't explain. Okay, this is the trans-regional transport vehicle, how it's happening. It's a very latest article, 26th of this month or last month by McKinsey. I downloaded and shared with you all. Please read that article without fail. The same thing. Successful transmission of global production. So what are the production? What are the things? 6 criteria. Competent assurance, digitalization, agile collaboration, production elasticity, economic sustainability, ecological sustainability. These 6 factors or criteria to be focused when transforming global production. So that if you read carefully, this is the final picture of that article. So please read it so you understand. Okay, global production. So purpose is to decentralize. So you know what it means decentralize. Cost optimization, supply chain management, because that easy to manage, so closer to the customer. Like now I told, brands are moving to India and India wants customers to buy or the citizen to buy, but not send the money abroad. So here they buy, so the money circulation within this country. So they can easily get. But take Sri Lanka, we have 300% tax, still vehicles are coming. So, but without knowing, we are spending the money, it's going out of the country. Of course, as a citizen, as a single person, personally, and we will want to have a car, but there is a problem. Okay, so how many cars have come last month itself is a huge numbers have come. So India is a business strategy. Okay, that is very, very part of the international strategy that globalization requires. Okay, benefit example I have put here. Strategy, low cost, that's the main reason. Production and supply chain management, that is a one. So quality and the cost, you have to see it. Six Sigma, don't worry about that. So you read it, and like I told that if you have this one, you can reduce the your waste, reject, and all of the thing, and you can get better benefit from like that ISO 9001, 14,000. There are lot of standard there based on your product. There are standard, so you have to use it. That's the one supply chain management. Okay, where to produce and all. So these all notes. There is no need to explain unless you have wanted anything. You can question me. I can, because I have given a handout based on the request last week. So if you are read anything, you have a right to ask now. Production factors, strategy roles of this one is only for reading. I have already explained in detail very well. So what is global supply chain? You have this one. So we talk.
The global supply chain is an intricate network that connects producers, suppliers, manufacturers, and consumers across the world. It encompasses all the steps involved in producing a product, from raw materials sourcing to final delivery to end users. Understanding the global supply chain is crucial in today's interconnected economy, as it not only drives business efficiency but also shapes global trade dynamics. At its core, the global supply chain operates through various stages, including procurement, production, transportation, and distribution. Companies source raw materials from different parts of the world, which are then transformed into finished products in factories often located in developing regions. Once manufactured, these goods are transported internationally through a combination of land, air, and sea logistics. At time and place, minimizing and pandemic-related shutdowns can severely impact production and delivery timelines. For instance, the COVID-19 plays a significant role in enhancing the efficiency of the global supply chain. Innovations like block-place changes and consumer demand, leveraging technology and adopting robust strategies not only benefits individual companies but also contributes to
Back in the 20th century, international business was a phone calls and video conferences are virtually free. Shipping is cheap and easy. People are incredibly mobile. Computing and the internet have made the world more connected than ever. This 21st took place at Renault's Techno Centre near Paris, but some was handled at other sites worldwide. SIMC battery from Korea, engine builds and sells a car, a global value chain. But not every country plays the same role or carries the same weight in global value chains. Small, open economies like the Slovak Republic or Belgium rely heavily on foreign imports to make finished goods. In large economies, like the United States, resources like minerals, oil and gas, lowering barriers to investment beyond their borders. Infrastructure.
the global.
Did you all study in caustic make or buy decision? Hello, can you all respond? Did you study in your accounting or costing make or buy decision?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so same thing here. So that in the part of the supply chain management, decision about whether to perform that you have to see whether you are going to produce or you outsource it. Okay, so that's our about this export import supply chain. You have to see that. Okay, it's a part of the export import, but strategy, production, supply chain management. You have to make one decision. You make it or buy it. Right now, if you take in the case of Reliance, they didn't make it. They are buying from MAS. Okay, they sold it They bought the brand, but they are not making. They are buying from, or they are getting done from MAs. So that is a simple this one. Global type of function. So you know that. I'm not going to do that. This is the same video. I'm not going to repeat. There
Hello.
was a mistake. Sorry. This one. This one.
Have you ever thought, there's got to be a better and
Okay. Whatever it, and you should know how to manage India. So this video, watch properly.
In today's interconnected and globalized world, businesses are expanding beyond their domestic borders to seize opportunities and tackle the challenges presented by international markets. This necessitates a specialized field of study and practice known as international business management. International business management encompasses the strategies, tactics, and skills required to successfully operate and navigate the complexities of conducting business on a global scale. International business management refers to the process of planning, organizing, and controlling business activities that involve cross-border transactions between companies and organizations. It encompasses various aspects of managing business operations in the global marketplace, including strategic decision-making, international marketing, finance, operations, supply chain management, and cultural considerations. Now let's take a look at the key elements of international business management. First, we have global strategy. Developing a comprehensive strategy that takes into account market entry methods, international expansion, and assessing opportunities and risks in different countries and regions. Next, we have international marketing. Adapting marketing strategies to diverse cultural, economic, and legal environments, understanding consumer behavior in different markets, and managing global brands and product portfolios. After this, we have international finance. Managing financial operations in multiple currencies, dealing with foreign exchange risks, understanding international financial markets, and evaluating investment opportunities and capital budgeting decisions in global context. After this, we have cross-cultural management. Recognizing and respecting cultural differences, understanding diverse communication styles, managing multicultural teams, and adapting management practices to different cultural norms. Next, we have global supply chain management. Optimizing global supply chains, managing logistics, coordinating international sourcing and procurement, and ensuring efficient and cost-effective movement of goods and services across borders. Lastly, we have legal and ethical considerations. Complying with international trade laws, regulations, and policies, addressing ethical dilemmas, and adhering to responsible business practices in different jurisdictions. Professionals in the field of international business management need to have a global mindset, strong analytical and problem-solving skills, effective communication and negotiation abilities, cultural sensitivity, and a deep understanding of international business practices and trends. They must also stay updated with geopolitical developments, economic trends, and technological advancements that impact global business operations. A career in international business management offers diverse opportunities, including working with multinational corporations, government agencies, international trade organizations, consulting firms, or starting and managing one's own global enterprise. It provides a dynamic and challenging environment that requires continuous learning, adaptability, and the ability to thrive in a multicultural and ever-evolving global marketplace. In conclusion, international business management is a dynamic and vital field in today's interconnected world. It provides individuals with the knowledge, skills, and perspectives necessary to thrive in the global marketplace. Through international business management, organizations can effectively navigate the challenges and capitalize on the opportunities presented by international markets. It enables businesses to expand their reach, tap into diverse resources, and gain a competitive edge.
I skip you this one, but that is up to you to read it. So now we discuss, I had 2-3 minutes. We discuss about import-export counter trade. You know what is it. Then if you want to be an exporter, you should get first readiness. Okay, export readiness. Out of that, there are 5 or 6 readiness. Product readiness, operational readiness, production readiness, like that view, right? So based on all these things and this video, international business management gave you an understanding of how to manage all. So this subject, it is a combination of all of the subjects. I asked whether you studied operation management and supply chain management. You need it. You need EDP accounting. Because you are managing across the border, right? So it's the same thing. So that's why I put this video. So that's why I put this video in full. So hope you have that understanding. So if you have any question, I have 3 minutes to answer. So I didn't skip this one. I skip for you to read it. So I have covered what is required. If I have skipped, purposely you to read it. So if you have any question, please ask me now.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in the very beginning, you mentioned about those business functions.
Tell me
In
again.
that, so in the very beginning, you mentioned about the business functions. In that, there was the first two about production sourcing and supply chain. What is exactly the difference between those two?
Tell me again, product sourcing and?
So the first business function you explained from the 6 of them, the first was production sourcing and the second was supply chain management.
Okay.
What's the difference
So what
between
is your
those two
specific question?
functions?
Now I have closed this PowerPoint. Okay. What is your specific question?
So in the business functions at the very beginning you mentioned?
Yeah, specific function, there are 6 functions. Out of that, we will be discussing 4. We discussed today 1. So 2. Import, export, counter trade plus production and supply chain. So other one will be discussing the following 3 lectures. Okay, now tell me what are the exactly what question?
So from those functions, the production sourcing was the first function, the second one was supply chain management, right? What is the
Supply
difference?
chain management. So production is part of the supply chain management because I have put it production because it's a multinational. If you take a domestic production and supply chain, there is not much a difference. Production is part of the supply chain. Okay, you have to produce only. So that is sourcing material all because it is not like a purchasing pattern. It's the supply chain is the one. But when you go to multinational, we have to produce it. You have to think then as a part of the supply chain. That is why they are put together. Okay. So supply chain management means whether you are going to produce it as a production or to market as well. If you take India, they are producing and marketing. I don't know about the export, they are doing it or not, I don't know. Because they know the brands are coming or internationalization happening for 2 things, material or market or labor, right? Because resources, right? So if you are coming to Sri Lanka for resources, one is for labor or some other material like this pencil using, but I don't know that in some areas, some items are there like the silicon and all of things. So they are coming to Sri Lanka for that. But India, they are not coming for resources. Mainly they are coming for market, except the IT companies. IT companies are coming for resources, maybe marketing plus IT. But if you take a automakers are coming only for market. They are internationalization happening only for the purpose of marketing. So the supply chain is become part of that. They see whether they are going to produce full or not, or they will bring anything. But as per Indian policy, they told Tesla, you can do anything, but you have to make minimum $500 million every year from Indian product. So they put a control. So then your supply chain management should be part of it. Even though you are producing or assembling in India, you have to go. So you have to see that all. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear now. Thank you.
No, you can ask. Don't worry. If you are not clear, I told you that the supply chain is a part. The production is a part of the supply chain. But when you come to international, the supply chain, the production is just a big. So what say if you take a Mercedes-Benz come into India, producing, but it's a part because of the business, because of the market size. And Indian policy saying, so we don't allow to import. So they are putting also control over what to bring it. So Tesla is a leading and all these they talk, even they are so strength, but India put us, okay, you can come and produce here Tesla car, but minimum $500 million you have to buy from Indian product or Indian subcontract, or you have to produce it there. So they made a control. At least they need some sort of value addition from India. So then your supply chain, your production, planning, all should be in line with that. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah. And your assignment on 30th June. So hope you would have done it now. To do it carefully, edit it. Please use the cover page properly. Use your number rightly, name rightly, what is appearing in your university registration, because I'll get a list from the computer, I think. Or I don't know, Excel sheet or computer, I don't know. So because that if there is a two different name, I will have problem of marking. Okay. So most of them are there. So yeah. So that is my this one. Any other question? Any other suggestion? Are you all learning what you all expected from the subject? Can someone quickly tell? Did you expect the same thing or something else you are expected and something else happening? Hello? What was the expected perception about the subject? Have they uploaded the lecture schedule or lecture content in your LMS? There should be a one-page document. Have they uploaded? Syllabus or curriculum or whatever, I don't know, I want to ask you, because I don't have access to the LMS yet. Can someone say quickly, please? Have they uploaded the syllabus?
I think, sir, the course content is not there for this subject.
I gave it my part. So you talk to that, what is the name? Sasini. So she will upload it. I have given my
Okay,
one.
sir.
Because I think
Okay,
maybe they complete from this one. Maybe they would have forgotten, because that the day before I starting the lectures, I have given. Like I am having the my PowerPoint slide. I used to give it to all others also. Even other places I do. Not the same subject, different. Okay. Okay. I do the same subject also for sleep. We used to give. So I gave that format and without a date. So they would have done the date. They're called delivery schedule. Not even delivery schedule uploaded. Lecture delivery schedule
No,
uploaded?
sir. No, I couldn't find the course content.
A course content plus delivery schedule. Okay, both I gave. So, but they may have to complete the rest of the one maybe. My 7 lectures, what I am teaching, what I am without a date I gave. But anyway, you take my slide first page. You have a document. Okay, so that is the my syllabus. Okay, so no need to worry much. I have 7 lectures. I have given that what is the international business, the framework of international business, multinational companies, innovation. That is one lecture. Then we discuss about environment, one lecture. Today we are talking about function. There are 4 lectures. So altogether 7 lectures I have completed. I have completed today 4. 3 more lectures. The next 3 will be global marketing. Okay, you would have learned the marketing management. It's called international marketing or global marketing. We will study next week. Week after we study, there are 2 types of market, developed and emerging. Like Europe and US are the developed market, plus emerging market like India, China, BRICS country like Russia and other things. So there is a way of doing business in international market. So we will discuss about that. The final one will be, there are 4 international business strategies. So how and which company is using what strategy and why are they using, that sort of thing we will study, and my lecture will be wrap up with the 7th lecture. That is the my course content or a delivery schedule. This is a simple, not much, but I gave already to Sasini. Talk to her and she will upload it. Okay. So any other question? Hello. If not, I will close the meeting and recording. Please stop. Okay, so thank you for your patience and participation. Okay, I am now leaving the meeting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good
Thank you. We'll
Thank you,
meet
sir.
next. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, please stop the recording. I'm closing the meeting. How I am leaving. I'm ending the meeting. Please stop recording.